Welcome back, everybody. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed. We left off with this disaster in the kitchen about to happen. We'll come back to that later on. We also finished up a bit of the paving at the side, and finally the sand and the stone has arrived for the rest of the paving. For those of you that have been following along, a few months ago we started working on this wall, which is going to be extended to the right. We'll be looking at this a bit later. Okay, let's get to ripping out the kitchen. The first job, of course, is to remove all the cabinet doors, and then we can go from there. First to come out was the IH heater and electric grill, with the associated control panel at the front here. You may also notice Dash, our dog, who's come to inspect the progress. I really wish I could work this fast. Next to come out was what I thought originally was a dishwasher, but it turns out to be an electric dish dryer. Totally useless, waste of time in this Japanese heat. After removing the rest of the sink cabinet structure, it was then time to disconnect the sink pipes. Both of these taps are turned off that you see, but as I got a spanner onto it, the whole tap itself broke off behind. It's very old. Panic time. The electric pump is controlled from a power source near the garage, so all of the time that I'm running to the garage, water is just pouring out. To deal with this problem, I've ordered some caps, which are kind of push-fitting caps, and I'm waiting for them to come in from America. I won't bore you with any more cleaning up, so it was then time to just start cutting this up. I realized that it was going to take me forever if I dealt with each screw individually and tried to remove the cabinet bit by bit. Um, so I just went wholesale with the Sawzall, just cut the whole surface in half. It's not going to be kept, it's actually all going to be just burnt or thrown away. So there's no point in being too careful with it. And finally, the sink cabinet is out. And back to the IH heater. I expected it to be quite heavy. It wasn't so difficult to get out, just a bit awkward. Moving the rest of the top portion of the cabinet was quite easy. Just pry bar and screwdriver was able to get it apart. It was then I noticed this problem. The base to the cabinet is actually covered in stainless steel. On the left, you can see the gas pipe coming up through the flooring, and on the right is a three-phase socket, heavy-duty socket for the original IH heater. I decided to leave that for the moment and come back to it later, hopefully once I've removed some of the wood to the back and could get better access to it. A job for later. It was then time to remove this plywood back panel to get access to the internal structure. Again, Sawzall and pry bar seemed the way to go with this. It was then time to start removing this top structure. You see the wooden 4x2s and the sheetrock or plasterboard as we call it in the UK. Unfortunately my camera battery died just after this. Over to the wall building. Originally this wall ran diagonally, and you may be wondering where I found the replacement blocks. They were luckily dumped on the other side of the road with a lot of bottles. My son came along to help me with this job. The first job was to remove any loose mortar and also clean up the base which we'd created. I left some dips in it to give it a bit of grip, but of course over time they'd filled with soil and leaves and bits. Then it was time to actually clean up the existing blocks. The ends on these were not quite straight, so again using the trusty angle grinder I was able to straighten those. While I was working on this, in the background you may be able to see my son. He was cleaning up the old blocks, taking off any existing mortar and just basically giving them a good brush over, ready to go in place. was then time to mark out on the base where the first blocks were going to go. After mixing up a load of mortar, we were able to then start actually laying the blocks. It's extremely hot, so we don't have much working time. Each of these blocks is incredibly heavy. I on my own are unable to lift one of them, so it does really take two people. You'll see here the last of the blocks going in, and at the end of the afternoon this was as far as we got. I just wanted to show you how we went about cutting these blocks. I set up a water container with a pipe that drips down onto the block to give it just a little bit of cooling for the blade. The blade's not actually big enough to cut all the way through, so basically we have to turn it around each time and go from the other side. Here you see one of the cut blocks. The light patch in the middle was unable to be reached by the blade, but a good cold chisel does the job. Unfortunately, my son was working the following weekend. Here you see me using some scaffolding poles to slide the block down into the right position. Off camera, I was able to get the capstones on the top of the wall. This is coming back the following day just to kind of clean up. And here's that part of the wall all finished. In the next video, we'll be coming back to look at the removal of the remaining kitchen units. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment below, and we'll see you again next time.